and down through this, so I have. And I think he's number 13, and he drops back into the sweeper position, and he plays his best football from there.
Mickey, he's an out-and-out corner forward. He's one of the best around. Why would you bring him out the field? When he wins the ball inside, he's absolutely deadly.
But Damien, it's not about being a good corner forward. This is about playing for the... Oh Jesus, hello, how are you? Hello and welcome to Gaelic Football Views on wearecavan.com. I'm telling you this now, Damien, I'm telling you now.
We're leaving him inside and that's it. So folks, welcome to Gaelic Football Views on wearecavan.com.
We'll fight about that later.
We will indeed, no doubt. On tonight's show, we'll be taking a look back over the Hotel Kilmore Intermediate and Senior Championship games played at the weekend. We'll also be looking ahead to the Cully's Craft Bakery Junior Championship final this coming Sunday.
This is going to be a cracker, I think.
Can't wait.
Absolutely. It's the two best teams in the Junior Championship competing in the final. I suppose... you know, a team that I thought were going to do well in that Junior Championship was Kildallan. They were flying high in the league and stuff like that. Probably just, you know, the first result of the championship probably is the reason why they're out of that Junior Championship. But Templeport and Cornafean, two good teams to have in the final.
We'll discuss the whole lot of the Cully's Craft Bakery Junior Championship a wee bit later on. But we're going to start with the Hotel Kilmore Senior Championship relegation playoff. This was in St Matthew's Park in Crosskeys on Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. It was Lavey against Drumalee, and Lavey came away with the victory here, 1-11 to Drumalee and 1-16 to Lavey. It was funny, obviously, watching it. I'm not a neutral, but it was a very good, entertaining game. And these relegation playoffs always seem to be really good, entertaining games.
Well, it's backs against the wall when it comes to relegation. You know, you're fighting for your life, and players are going to give it their all, and that's something that, you know, relegation brings out of teams and whatever, and both teams went for this hell for leather, and unfortunately for Drumalee, our team, you know, they came out on the wrong side of a result, but it could have went either way towards the end. I know maybe from speaking to you, I didn't make it to this game, but speaking to you and a few people that were at it, you know, Lavey could have been out of sight, weren't out of sight. Drumalee then could have went ahead towards the end and maybe closed out a victory, but it was Lavey who got the bit of luck on their side.
Like looking through the game, I'd probably have to say a man of the match was Peter McGinty, the goalkeeper for Drumalee. He had 3 point-blank saves on Lavey. I think 2 of them were on Shane Tierney, where Shane Tierney had got around his marker and was bearing down on goals, and McGinty came out, spread himself, and absolutely brilliant. I have to say he was phenomenal. Lavey missed a penalty. Now it was at the far end of the field, so I didn't get to see it quite clearly, but I think McGinty got a hand to it to push it onto the post, or if not, it just hit the post and came back out. But you know, if you take those goal chances, Lavey should have been further in front. But the harsh thing on it, or the disappointing, was that when it was a draw game, Lavey had gone ahead, Drumalee pulled themselves back, got a goal, a very well taken goal by, I think it was Andy Fallon took the goal. Well, sorry, actually it wasn't. It was a high ball lobbed in, and the goalkeeper for Lavey spilled it. It wasn't Conor Martin who was in goals. The programme was wrong with numbers and names on the Lavey side, but yeah, he spilled it and it went in, and that brought Drumalee back into it. It was a level at that stage. 1-11
to 14, I think it was at that stage.
Yeah, could have been. Yeah, it was right. And then Drumalee breaking through for a goal. Lee Dunn had got by his man, and a clear pull of the jersey to take him down. Now, I don't know whether he was inside the square or outside the square. He was very close to it. Again, it was at the far end of the field, so I couldn't see it clearly enough, but you could see the jersey being pulled. And now, referee was Jim Giblin from Arva, and he was a good bit out the field because it was a long ball that was sent in, and he must have been in a crowd of bodies. He obviously didn't see it, because if he'd seen it, it was a definite free at least, or maybe penalty for Drumalee. But the ball fell out of Lee Dunn's hands, and then up came Lavey in the same move and scored a goal at the opposite end to put them 3 points in front. And it was just kind of after Drumalee battling and working so hard to get themselves back into it.
They knocked the wind out of their sails at that stage.
Like a decision like that going against you sometimes is just too much for players to be able to take, and it was disappointing for them. But Lavey were the better team over the hour. but only just. Like Drumley were very good, and the really disappointing thing from a Drumley point of view is if the lads had played the way they did in the championship throughout the league,
they wouldn't be in
the
position
relegation. They wouldn't be going into the bottom tier of football, and like the ability is there in those Drumley players. They have to just get it out.
Without a shadow of a doubt, I'd 100% agree with you that the skill set of the players in Drumley is second to none. I'd put them up there with the best in the county, and just if they were able to apply themselves to the league the way they did to the championship, they wouldn't be in the situation that they're in. But
Darren Jordan has to come in for special mention there. He scored 8 points in total. I think it was 4 frees, 4 from open play. An absolutely brilliant performance, full of running, long hard runs, 50, 60 yard runs all the time, and with great pace coming off the shoulder.
Who got the goal for Lavi?
Who did get the goal?
Was it Joey Jordan?
Sorry, it was Finbar Jordan actually.
Finbar Jordan.
It was Finbar Jordan that got it all right. The numbers, as I say, some of them were wrong, but Finbar's was right. It was passed across, I think, by Chris Conroy, and Finbar just palmed it into the net. But it was, it
was a killer blow.
It was a killer blow. But Chris Conroy was playing in the middle of the field. Him and Jimmy Fallon had a very good battle. Sammy Brady on Ray Cullivan was another good battle. Ray Cullivan showed some great high fielding again. Extremely capable. But Lavi, if they look at it, they'll probably rule the missed chances. If they had lost that game, they had a good few frees missed. They had a lot of open play missed. They dropped short. They missed a penalty. They missed 1v1s in goal situations. So it was probably Lavi's to win. In fairness, they were the better team on the hour. But I suppose for Drumley, Cian Bourne stood up again. He scored 5 points for Drumley, 3 from open play and 2 from frees. And the first 2 points I think he got were outside 45 or damn close to it. Absolutely brilliant. He's showing quality that we all know what he's capable of, and if he can apply himself maybe to the thing next year, or he could be somebody that Cavan could look at, because he has the ability.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, definitely. But that knocks Drumley into intermediate for next year. That means they're relegated from senior. And there was one more game in the relegation of the Hotel Kilmore Senior Championship, and it was a preliminary relegation game. And this saw Cuchullin's taking on Drumgoon, and Cuchullin's came away with a massive victory here, 4 goals and 17 points. Drumgoon's 1 goal and 6. It was a 3-11, 20-point victory for Cuchullin's. Drumgoon just they haven't reached the heights that they've reached over the last few years. They really had a poor season. They go in now to play Crusherlaw in their relegation game. So they've one more bite at the cherry, but it won't be easy against Crusherlaw.
No, and Crusherlaw are playing a lot of challenge matches now. They seem to be they're ticking over. They're keeping the thing going. Now Drumgoon played a few as well, so it's hard to know. I didn't think Drumgoon would be bet by that much by Cuchullin's, but it's going to be.
Cuchullin's blowing hot and cold all year.
Yeah,
that's the thing about them. Like they can play fantastically and score 4-17, or they can go out against the Gaels and score 4 points.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Cuchullin's. Last year's beaten semi-finalists in the senior championship in a preliminary relegation playoff this year. There's a bit of work to be done there as well.
Yeah, but what it actually shows, like Lavi weren't too far away from beating Mullahorn last year, and they were close enough. Drumley could have beaten Mullahorn this year, and could have beaten Den. Like these teams,
could have beaten Castlerahan last year very easily as well.
And Killygarry, who are now in the senior semi-final. Like the gap is definitely tightening up, and it's a shame for Drumley's point of view that they're going down now, because they were showing that they're capable of competing at senior, but competing, those few losses in a row cost them, and Drumgoon or Crusherlaw are going to find themselves in the same position, that they'll be going down to intermediate, because there are 2 relegated this year from the senior championship.
There is indeed. After the relegation games, I suppose we've looked over them. We'll go on now to, again, it's in the Hotel Kilmore Senior Championship quarter-finals. The first of these quarter-finals is Kingscourt and Cavan Gaels. It was played on Saturday night at 8 o'clock in Kingsmore Breffni Park. And Kingscourt came away with a massive victory here in a quarter-final against Cavan Gaels.
The current champions.
The current champions against last year's beaten finalists. Kingscourt 12 points, Cavan Gaels 10 points. And for all intents and purposes, it was just a game where it seemed like Cavan Gaels were going to win this at a lot of times. They just could not get over Kings Court. The Kings Court's resolve was just amazing. It was just brilliant. Their tackling and their defending was excellent.
Continual battling and organisation, and even I was very impressed with the homework that they had done. They got their matchups right for most of it. Bar maybe Shawnee Johnston in the first half. I think the cornerback Rory Shorten was struggling a wee bit with Shawnee. Shawnee scored 4 points in the first half, but when they moved Keith McCabe back onto him at half time, or maybe a wee bit before half time, it tightened them up, and Shawnee only got 1 more point. Now, he also picked up a bit of an injury. You could see him limping, but like the matchup of Shane Gray going on to Martin Dunn, I thought was perfect.
Yeah.
Shane Gray was absolutely excellent. Like, Martin Dunn is top quality. He's one of the best forwards in the county, and I don't think he got one shot away on Shane Gray.
Yeah, like a shot from play. I don't remember him having a shot from play either. I think he scored 2 frees in the game, and that was it.
2 45s and 2 frees.
Or 2 45s. He scored 4 points, all from dead ball situations, and it has to be commended as well. His 45s were absolutely exceptional. There was, they were shooting down into the town end in the first half, and one from the right hand side and one from the left hand side. 2 phenomenal 45s, it has to be said.
The strange thing though, because he missed a couple of frees as well, where he dropped one short and he hit one wide, but he took them out of his hands. And that was very strange. When he was striking the ball so well from 45 off the ground, would it not be better for him to stay with?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And
considering conditions.
Yeah, considering conditions, it was wet. It wasn't too bad now Saturday night. There was a bit of dew on the pitch late on and whatever, and it was cold. But he was, as you said, striking the ball so well from the 45 in the first half that, why change it? Yeah. Why change in the second half and go from the hands? Dropped one short, kicked 1 or 2 wide. It was just a bizarre situation, and it's something that maybe Cavan Gaels will look back on. But to speak about it, half time, 8 points apiece. Kings Court kept Cavan Gaels to 2 points in the second half. Kings Court went 6 points to 0 up. Cavan Gaels came back and drew level. Then they were level again at half time, and in the second half, yourself and Paul Fitzpatrick, we were talking about it on We Are Cavan, and Paul was saying there's only going to be one winner here at half time, and I was kind of like a bit hesitant. I was going, no, I says if Kings Court can hold on to the ball and frustrate Cavan Gaels in the second half, because they're very good, and that's exactly what they did. And Cavan Gaels didn't have a lot of ball in hand because Kings Court seemed to keep the ball for 2 and 3 minutes at a time, and then kick it wide or get turned over or whatever. But Cavan Gaels just complete frustration and panicking, shooting from crazy angles and stuff like that. It just was Kings Court ground out a result there, definitely.
Like, all of Cavan Gaels' wides came in the second half and missed opportunities. I don't think they had a missed opportunity in the first half at all. Kings Court had such an amount of possession for the opening 10, maybe 15 minutes of the game, and then Cavan Gaels, every attack that went up, they got their scores, from 3 from Martin Dunn in the first half and 4 from Shawnee Johnston. I can't think who got the other one. Could have been Niall Murray. But it was just very, very strange to see. Well, not that it was strange to see. I suppose we kind of anticipated this or seen it coming, that the loss of Dominic Riley in the middle of the field, the loss of Chesty at centre back, that they didn't have the physical strong men or the lads who, when the going gets tough, that they can always rely on. They just weren't there, and they're going to have.
There's no leader nearly for them.
They're going to have to find replacements. They're going to some players in Cavan Gaels are going to have to step up to the mantle and take that leadership role and grab a game by the scruff of the neck when chips are down, when the thing is going against them, and look, I'm sure they will find it, but it's up to some of those young players to do that job, whether it be Robert Maloney Derham or Dara Sexton or Niall Murray or Daniel Graham. Somebody like that has to come in and say, listen, I'm going to take this road.
They need some sort of a leader or a captain. But then to come back to the Kings Court side of things, like, you mentioned them already, Shane Gray, Martin Dunn, fantastic game. Keith McCabe was having a brilliant game at wing half back, and then they realised, look, we need to shore up here on Shawnee Johnson. They dropped him back. He had a great game on Shawnee Johnson as well. Pádraig Faulkner, who missed most of last year's senior final due to being sending off, due to his sending off 10 minutes into the game, he was exceptional. He was just a rock there in the centre of the defence. And Barry Riley at midfield, who scored 8 or 9 points, I think, maybe. A lot of frees, but exceptional frees. And not only that, but towards the end of the game, when it was in the melting pot, when balls were being kicked out to the middle of the field, he was the one who he wasn't catching, but he was the one who was breaking the ball and doing clever things in the middle of the field. His experience showed against a young midfield of Paul Graham and Robert Maloney Durham, and
Barry's the same age as Robert Maloney Durham.
I know, but he just seemed to have that little bit more cuteness about him or whatever. Yeah. He's more of a leader maybe than Robert Maloney Durham. He's been a leader for King's Court for a long time now, whereas Robert Maloney Durham, Paul Graham, they would have been dependent on the likes of Dominic or Chesty to do that for them, and then they could play their normal game, So it was an interesting one. And Peter Corrigan comes in for good. Joe Dillon, great to see him back.
It was such an important move by Niall Lynch to play Joe Dillon for the hour in the Ballinar replay, because you could see he wasn't fit to play an hour in that game, but he knew. Michael Hannon said this on the live broadcast, that he knew that he needed, if Kings Court are going to win a championship, he needs Joe Dillon and he needs him fit. And to get an hour's championship football under his belt made all the difference to him in the Cavan Gaels game, and I thought he had a very good game in there in his full forward. He created a different option that if Kings Court were stuck, they could go route one and he'd win a lot of ball, or he'd break it down, but it would relieve.
He's very unlucky a couple of times. He's a beautiful leap. Yeah. So he does. He just gets up behind the defender and rises up and gets the hands on the ball. A couple of times he was unlucky that they fumbled away from his hands or whatever. A couple of times he did catch them and tried to recycle them, whatever. And great to see him, as you said. Absolutely brilliant to see him back. But that sees Kings Court beating Cavan Gaels, the current champions, as we said, going into a semi-final, and they will be playing the winner of this game that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, so the second, it was actually the first quarter-final of the weekend, the third in total, and just 3 out of 4 just to keep everybody up to date. And we're in the Cavan Crystal Hotel here on Dublin Road.
Come on, did you hear about the Titanic?
Jesus, no. Fill us in later though. Well, not a private joke. Anybody listening to the live broadcast will understand that one. But Killigarry beat Mullahoran on a scoreline of 2-14 to 2-8. A phenomenal scoreline. Again, I don't know if I said it on this show last week or on one of the podcasts.
Scoring freely.
I didn't think that Killigarry would score 16 times against Mullahoran. I thought they'd be doing well to score 12, maybe 10, 12 points, and it just goes to show this Killigarry attack is really potent.
Well, it's crazy, because the one thing that stood out for me in the championship this year is the minors and under 21s. They are the ones that have stood up to the plate in a lot of games, be it Killigarry, be it Cavan Gaels, be it Arva, be it Kings Court. It's the younger players that are standing up. And you look at it, Matty McKenna and Brian Shannon were absolutely brilliant for Killigarry. Darragh Gannon, again, another lad who was absolutely brilliant. And Connor Smith, when he came on, 1-2 in the space of 7 or 8 minutes. Absolutely phenomenal performance by these young fellas. All these have come through, St. Pat's or County Minors, and that's just them. Like the other teams that have done well, again, it's the college football fellas that have been playing well at college football, playing well with minors, playing well with under 21s, and it's brilliant to see. There's no fear, and that's why they go out and score 2-14, or that's why they went out and scored 8 goals and 79 points or 74 points in their last 2 games before that. It's brilliant to see it. No fear, and not only that, but their manager Kieran O'Reilly, he's an advocate for attacking football. He wants to play attacking football, so he does. And it's great to see it. But to talk about the game itself, first half, like Mullahoran, non-existent. 25 minutes of the first half, Mullahoran non-existent. 6 points to 1 down. At that stage, this is my fear with Killigarry. They go 5 or 6 points up and they start to panic. They don't know what to do next. Instead of just keeping doing what they're doing and going all out attack, players seem to be afraid of being the player that makes the mistake that costs them a score and letting the team back in. And that's exactly what happened. There were 6 points to 1 up, 25 minutes gone. A mistake in the defence. Paul Brady sticks a ball in the net. 3 minutes later, another mistake in the defence. They're messing around with the ball instead of moving it forward. Paul Brady on the end of it, goal. And they go in at half time, a point down. And what Kieran Riley must have said to them at half time, like, what would he have said to them, Damien?
Like, apparently one of the Killygarry players stood up and said, lads, Mullahoran are going to be coming out in this second half thinking, we're after weathering this storm. You know, we haven't played any football at all, and we're leading. Like, this is ideal position for us. We've got all the cards now. This is our game to win. We're in front and we haven't played any football. So let's go out and play a bit of football now in this second half. And it was probably the winning of the game, them 2 goals going in against Killygarry, because they knew they had the better of the Mullahoran team. They knew they could outplay them, but they were behind at half time. So one of the Killygarry players said, lads, we go out and we do exactly what we done in that first half. We do it exactly the same, except we just get tighter at the back. We make sure no more goals go in, and we'll win this game. And they were dead right. Like, that's exactly what they done. They went out and they dominated that second half. They were absolutely brilliant in it.
Yeah, and a special mention has to go to Brendan Murray.
Goal of the season.
Goal of the season, has to be said. Caught a ball in midfield, played it in, went for the return, got the ball maybe about 30 yards out, and when he got to maybe 22, 23 metres out, stuck it in the top corner, blazed it into the far top left-hand corner. Now, the thing about it was a 3-on-1 situation. They actually had 2 players, one either side of the large parallelogram, and Brendan breaking through on one player, which was Shawnee Smith. They'd got right in behind the Mullahoran defence. It would have been a goal if he carried it on, but his shot was absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah,
fantastic
really
goal.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully later on in the year we'll be compiling a number of scores of the championship for each championship, and we will be able to bring you the video of that.
Well, that one will definitely be in. And I suppose then, just to mention a couple of other lads, Martin Riley's free taking again, and some of his score taking was absolutely exceptional. Brian Shannon. Come back onto him now, yeah.
Absolutely brilliantly. He scored 4 frees, 2 on the left and 2 on the right.
Yeah.
And Martin Riley then, it seemed the free taking, I'm not too sure if it's suiting Martin Riley, because he seems a lot better now since Brian Shannon has taken over the frees. Martin seems to be playing freer and just more confidence actually on the ball. Like, I think the first score he got was just unbelievable. You're calling them the Martin Riley scores, were just outside of the left boot from 40, 50 yards out, like, just brilliant.
And he scored that one first, and he sliced across the ball and he just drilled it. It went 15 metres and never went any higher or lower. Yeah. Bang, hit the net and sliced it off the outside of the left foot. Then he got one out on the terrace side, shooting down into the town end, and he came across the 45, dodged a few tackles, cut back in onto his right, and then turned onto his left, and with no backlift, just bang, same again, but like an arrow, straight over the bar. Phenomenal scoring by Martin. And Connor Smith comes on for a cameo towards the end. Like Shawnee Smith, James Riley, Matthew Hines, he was a nightmare for them. He was just everywhere. And
he should have had a penalty as well.
He should have had a penalty, is right, yeah. This is a game that Killygarry won by 6 points, and actually could have won it by 10 or 15. Yeah. I was a bit worried for them. They went 6 points up with maybe 8 minutes to go, and Mullahoran scored a point, and then they got another point. And this is something that Killygarry did.
Right.
They let teams back, and we were like going, if Killygarry want to win this game, this is when they need a score. And they went up, they got a point, and that settled their nerves again. And maybe that's something
that Connor Smith who got that.
It was, it's right, yeah. And that might be what the
nucleus for them
what Killygarry
to build.
Need, yeah. So that's their semi-final. Kingscourt and Killygarry in the semi-final of the senior championship. That's going to be a cracker.
As Cavan McDonald from Rammer said to us on Twitter, it's all the K's in the semi-final. Killishandra, Killygarry, Kingscourt and Castleran with a K.
Yeah, brilliant, love it. So I do, absolutely class. That's the semi-finals sorted now for the senior championship. We've got Killishandra and Castleran, a repeat of the first round.
Saturday night in Kingscourt and Breffney Park, live on wearecavan.com, audio commentary. and I think it's at 7 o'clock or 7:30. I'm not sure, but you'll see the tweets coming.
And then the Killygarry and Kingscourt semi-final is on Sunday after the Junior Championship final.
Yeah, and for some reason on the website it's showing as Fay Park, which is in Belturbet, but I can't see that. There must have been a mistake of some sort on that. And even actually after the junior final doesn't make sense to me. So maybe watch the.
Is there a minor final on before the junior championship?
No, the senior hurling final is actually on.
Right, that's why they're leaving the.
Mullahorn and somebody in the senior hurling final.
That's usually Mullahorn in the senior hurling final anyway.
Yeah, so
it is.
Yeah, so look, they'll be absolutely brilliant games. The two semi-finals, it's going to be absolute crackers. We're looking forward to them. I suppose we'll go quickly and give them your predictions, maybe, Mickey.
Look, this is so hard.
I was asked I was up at the All Ireland final yesterday, and I was asked by a couple of the Kingscourt players. Hello to Noel McEnroe and a few or McIntyre, sorry. But they were saying to me, who do you think, who's favourites now for the senior championship? So I'll put the same question to you. Who's favourites?
Well, who's favourites? It's probably, I'd say with the bookies, it's probably Kingscourt. Beaten finalists last year, 8 games under their belt, already in this year's senior championship. And Belturbet played 2 and got to a semi-final, or played 1 and got to a semi-final in the intermediate. I'd say Kingscourt are probably favourites, with Castlerahan close to them.
That's on bookies, but in your head?
Again,
would you agree with the bookies?
I'd probably say Kingscourt are the favourites in my head, and then Castlerahan. Yeah, I would probably agree. Although not that I'd love to see any teams beaten, but I'd love to see Killygarry going out in a semi-final and just playing the football they have for the last 3 games.
Wouldn't it be now? And I know Castlerahan haven't been in a final a long time and haven't won it.
2010 was it?
Could have been.
No, 2000.
They were beaten by Cavan
Gales in a final in 2011 or 2010. 2011, I think it was.
But wouldn't it be a wonderful final, Killishandra, Killygarry? That's a story.
Exactly. Yeah, that's for the stuff, fairy tales and whatever, and that's not knocking Kingscourt or.
The funny thing is though that
it could happen.
It could happen. There's no, regardless of results, there's no upsets now.
Okay, well if you go by form teams,
if you're
going by form teams, you'd be going by Killishandra and Killygarry. So you would, because they've racked up huge scores.
Actually, for me, if I was picking, I had to pick the favourites, and I was going on form. For me, it's Castlerahan.
Oh yeah, at the minute, yeah.
Castlerahan look like they're really hitting form at the right time, and then it'd be probably Kingscourt maybe just after them as favourites. But Kingscourt are the only team left that have won the championship in the last. Sorry,
have won the championship. Well, Killygarry.
I don't know if Killygarry ever won a senior championship. Definitely is a long time since Castlerahan won it. Did Stephen King never win a senior championship on his own for Killishandra? Stephen King never played in a senior championship semi-final. So look at Killishandra are in new territory completely. Killygarry have been in semi-finals before. Never or haven't got over the line in the semi-final in the last while, so you'd expect that the experience should suit Kingscourt.
And that's why I'm saying Kingscourt and Castlerahan would probably be the favourites. But look, I actually cannot call these games. I cannot call these semi-finals. I really can't, because Killishandra give Kingscourt or give Castlerahan an awful beating in the first round of the championship.
11, 12 points.
12 points they won that game by.
And then, well deserved.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But as you said, Castlerahan are peaking at the right time, and they really have, been building slowly and surely. Every game they're getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
And every game there's players coming back. Every game there's the likes of Cian Mackey, who was, suffering injuries and stuff earlier on in the year. He's coming back to his best. 3-4 in the last game.
Sean Brady, I heard last night, is going to be able to play a bit of a part, so he'll be a big addition there as well. I'm not too sure about David Ritt if he's going to be back.
Another player like David Ritt to come back.
Yeah, it's going to be a strong team now. I also heard Dara Atai is gone, but there's a strong possibility he'll be back.
Right.
So if that's true, then Dara Atai is the man I think that could mark Cian Mackey and could do the job on him.
Yeah.
So Dara's having a phenomenal season.
Great season.
And it's just there's so much. I'm looking forward to this game. I know the two clubs mightn't have wanted it because they've played each other already.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to this as a rematch. This is going to be a cracker.
And that's no way taken away from Cavan, Gales or Mullahoran, but it is so nice to see the likes of Killygarry and Killashandra with a chance, and Castlereagh, of getting to a final. And again, not taking away from Kingscourt, they've been there over the last few years. But it's great to see these new teams getting there. And something that me and you spoke about was that it's not that Mullahoran have gone back terribly. Now, they have lost a few players, and the likes of Christy Shields is a huge loss to them. It's not that they've all of a sudden gone so far back that that these teams have just stayed. It's that the other teams have lifted the bar.
Yeah, I think so.
And the likes of Killygarry with their young players coming through. It's teams and young players injecting a little bit of life into these bigger teams.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
So-called not bigger teams.
They're going to be two very, very good semi-finals, and we're really looking forward to them. Obviously, coverage will be brought to you on wearecavan.com of both games.
Yeah.
So moving on to the Hotel Kilmore Intermediate Championship semi-finals that were played at the weekend. On Friday night, it was Ballyhaise against Drumlane, and Ballyhaise came away with a 4-point win here, 111 to 1-7. Deserved their victory there. Ballyhaise, they were the better
tough test
team
for them.
Yeah.
They didn't play well, I believe, as well. Speaking to a lot of people from Ballyhaise, you were at the game yourself. You'll be able to tell me, but ground out a result and are back in another final 2 years in a row.
Ballyhaise have done something that a few years ago they wouldn't have done. They've come from behind in quarter final and semi final to win the game, and those are the games that people would have been talking about Ballyhaise that they're bottlers and they'll make mistakes. They haven't done that this year, and they've been tested. Where people maybe didn't expect them to be tested, they have been tested and they've come up with the right answer, and that's a huge plus for Ballyhaise.
And you look back to the start of the season for Ballyhaise. No manager until March.
Yeah, the first 2 games of the league, or Breffni League, I think 1 league game and 1 Breffni League game or something like that, before they got John Brady in.
And when they got John Brady, I did say, they've got the right man.
Yeah.
They've got the right man. Ballyhaise need a man like John Brady, and it's been a phenomenal turnaround since he went in there, and the players have bought into everything. And to see the likes of Stephen Smith having the year that he's having is absolutely brilliant.
I must actually look back over my programmes and tot it up, because he added on another 8 points to his tallied for the year. Like he just keeps on going. And now 7 of the 8 were from frees, but they weren't
still
easy
need to be
frees.
converted.
Yeah, it was a great return from him. I thought that, in fairness to Porrick Moore, he worked extremely hard in there, but the Drumlane defenders are very, very good. Drumlane have the best defence in that intermediate, in my opinion, and yet Ballyhaise still scored 111 on them. Where Drumlane were probably missing is forwards. They don't have enough forwards. I think that they only got Kieran Crowe was the only forward to score from open play that started, actually, and then you had a Cian Monaghan goal, and JP Kelly, a wing half back, got another point, and the rest were Ryan Connolly frees. So
Ryan Connolly was kept scoreless from play as well. That's something that Ballyhaise obviously had seen and said, right, Ryan Connolly is the main man here, and he is. And he's again another young footballer, fantastic footballer.
One of his frees was from the sideline on the far side, on the terrace side in Kingspan Breffni Park, and it was about halfway between the 20-metre line and the 45, and he sailed it over the bar with the outside of the right boot. It was a class. Absolutely, how big and how wide Breffni Park is. It was just such a phenomenal score.
And another young prodigy, from Cavan, and the no fear in him to go for that score from that angle with the outside of the boot. And although the All-Ireland Championship this year has been a bit of a damp squib, the club championship in Cavan has been absolutely incredible.
They should be televising on Sky Sports.
Oh, damn right,
to show how good the football is, because the football in Cavan this year has been absolutely brilliant.
But couldn't knock it.
Looking down on the Ballyhaise team, Kevin Tierney had a good enough game too. He scored a penalty. He scored 2 points, 1 in each half. But yet John O'Dowd done a brilliant job on him as well. Now he ended up in the second half. He picked up a black card after a yellow card he had got before, so he had to go off.
Right.
Which was a big blow to them. But
how long was left when that happened?
There wasn't a lot of time left.
Right.
Now, I can't remember exactly when, but Donald Monaghan had a very good performance again in the back line for Drumlane as well. But just looking through probably Ballyhaise, I'm just trying to think, like, actually, if I was to really look and be 100% honest, there wasn't a lot of Ballyhaise players that played that well, which is probably promising for them.
Oh yeah,
because there's so much more in them. But like they didn't perform terribly well. Ballyhaise. I'm struggling actually. When I looked through the team, there was a lot of okay performances. They didn't do anything terribly wrong, but there was none of them that stood out. David Brady was probably the only one that, for me, kind of stood out. Done a few things very well.
Again, what age is David Brady?
18, yeah, like a minor.
You know, it's class.
It's these young boys.
It's just so good to see.
And he's a big cousin too. I was chatting to him in Croke Park yesterday, and like he's looking down at me. He's such a big, strong Gosson now, and he's another really exciting prospect in Cavan football at the minute. Like I would think he's capable of going on to the county senior panel this year. I don't know what way it'll work with the under 21s, whether he'll be allowed. He'll definitely be on the under 21s. I'd be very surprised if he's not. But a very good footballer and good to see. But all in all, Ballyhaise will be delighted to have come through the game without playing well. And
not only that, but one thing that's in their favour, I know they've been the bridesmaid many's a time in the intermediate championship and never the bride. But one little statistic that stands out for me is that teams that have lost a final and then the following year got to a final tend to win the intermediate in the second time of asking. If you lose it and you don't get to it the following year, and you get to it the following year after that, it doesn't seem to work. But this thing of you know, like Drumlee did it, Ballinagh did it, Cucullins did it,
Arva did it in junior.
Arva did it in the junior. There was a couple more in the intermediate as well. There's been a lot of teams who have done that in the intermediate. So it's definitely, you know, boding well for them. But they're up against the lads from Arva. Arva played Belturbet in the second of the intermediate semi-finals on Saturday evening in Kingspan Breffni Park, and this ended in a scoreline of Arva 2 goals in 10, Belturbet 1 goal in 10. And
what a story!
This had everything in it, so it did. And Belturbet very unlucky. Should have had a draw out of this game. But
do you know what? And it might be a harsh thing to say, but I don't think luck was anything to do with it. It was unfortunate, but it was a couple of bad decisions by Belturbet lads that cost them the game in the end. There's the set going. You know, the last free to level the sides, they should never have fouled Kevin Boucher. There was no need to foul him. He had two defenders goal side. He was running away from goal. You know, it was a silly foul, and that ended up leveling it. And then the goal to win it was just, I don't know how you say, it was just horrible. It was like a car crash.
It was, the ball had been kicked out after the point, and Belturbet, I think, went with a short kick out and then tried to play the ball out of defence. But credit due to Kieran Brady, he anticipated where the ball was going, got there before the Belturbet player. He took it around 2 players on the outside, trying to make an angle for himself. He ended up on the end line practically and turning back onto his right foot. And it looked like, trying to turn onto his right foot, but he tried to hit it with the outside of his left foot because he was on the left hand side of the goals, and curl it back over the bar. And he got tackled as he was doing it and fell forward and drilled the ball. It was a bullet, and it just went flying across right at the front post. And Danny Anscombe, the Belturbet goalkeeper, wasn't expecting it, tried to pull it, and he inadvertently drove it into the roof of the net. And there was one more kick out. The referee blew the whistle after that, and you know, Arvic stole a victory where they would have taken a draw all day long.
Yeah, I spoke to the chairman of Arva yesterday, Niall Brady, and he was saying, well, we actually spoke to him when we were Cavan on Friday or on Saturday evening at the half time in the second game, and he was saying we'd have taken the hand of them for a draw with time up, like, to get the win was robbery. It really was. Now a draw might have just been a fair result. Definitely Arva were lucky to get through this one.
They were definitely. Look. I would have said definitely that a draw was a fair result in this. There was chances missed on both sides. Belturbet again very wasteful. Something that's been happening with them in the last 2 games. There were only 2 games in the championship, I suppose. But you know, when you look at the game itself, it was a tale of 2 players, in my opinion. It was Enda Henry going up against Conal Sheridan. Enda Henry ended up at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 of the 10 points that Belturbet scored, and Conal Sheridan ended up at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points out of their 210. But he was involved in another goal and 2. He was involved in a goal and 10 out of Arva's 210, and then obviously Kieran Brady got the other goal. But you know, Conal Sheridan was exceptional in the full forward, Damien.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, I have to say. And I thought Peter Keneally had a very good game.
Some
as
of
well.
his fielding in diagonal ball coming across the square, and to be so close to the end line and rising up and catching ball and coming down, it was a joy to watch.
Yeah, he was excellent. Peter Morris kicked on 2 points as well. J.O. always good for a goal. J.O.
Yeah, great goal.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And then, but Enda Henry has been the player for Belturbet in this championship. He's really stood up, and you know, they're littered with really good players. Damien O'Reilly, obviously there, Bud Fitzpatrick, but Enda Henry looked better than them all this championship.
He was outstanding, so he was. He was box to box. At one stage he intercepted a ball, he caught a ball in his own large parallelogram in front of the goalkeeper, played it out, and was on the end of the move up the other end to kick the ball over the bar. He's so honest. He just gives it everything. He's tough, he's hard. Do you know what? I thought Kevin McConnell at centre back had a very good game as well. He was
directly marking Kieran Brady for a lot of the game, and it was a good battle. Like, Kieran Brady didn't influence the game the way he usually does.
Definitely not. No, I don't know. They were trying to get him into that forward line. Now, he had a good game as well.
He had a good game.
He put in some great tackles,
but not just like. The last few games, Kieran Brady has been dictating and dominating the game. He didn't do that in this game. You know, he had a solid game. He had a solid 8 out of 10 game, but we're used to seeing 10 out of 10s from Kieran Brady.
You know.
But the other, I suppose, Cian Vaughan had a very good game as well, wing forward.
Yeah, Cian Vaughan for Belturbet was excellent, I have to say. And do you know what, Bud Fitch, I didn't speak about him yet, but he didn't play his full forward role. He went out and got on ball, and he kicked a couple of points, and I thought he was very, very good as well. And
I have to say, I thought he had a good game, but his shooting boots haven't come out this year properly yet. He's not scoring the way we know he's capable of scoring. He got 1 point at the weekend, and
it was the very first point of the game. He got in the first minute, and it was a well taken score from inside around the D area. But then he was moved out the pitch, and he was leaving J.O. and Niall O'Reilly in the full forward line, and he seemed to be the man that they were trying to get on the ball to play this ball across the square around the 6-yard area so that J.O. could get up and compete with the goalkeeper. And the ball that he put in for J.O.'s goal was absolutely brilliant. He was near the end line, and with the outside of the left foot, he just drilled it across. Lovely height. It was maybe 6 foot in the air, 7 foot in the air, and it was just coming across that 6-yard area where the goalkeeper had to commit. The fullback was standing, and J.O. came in between the two of them and palmed it into the net. And they tried that 3 or 4 times, and it came off.
Yeah, it appeared to be something that they'd worked on all right, and it's just, I suppose there's a debate. Where do you play him? Where's the best place to play Bud? You know, for me,
he's a natural scoring forward.
I think he is, and I'd like to see him close to goal. You know, but then maybe they were saying, well, we're not winning enough ball out in the middle of the field, and the quality of the ball coming in mightn't be as good if Bud's not the one delivering it in. So it was a gamble.
But Niall O'Reilly is a quality footballer as well, and you know, he could move out the field. You know, he's a big lad as well, and he has 2 good feet in him. I thought he did quite well in the first half. Bar he got on the end of a lot of chances and made space for himself. Just rushed his shots a little bit, and he had 3 wides in a row, and then they took him off. I don't know. Personally, I thought he's the only one creating chances here for Belturbet. You know, he's making that little space for himself to get the shot off, and I thought maybe another 10 minutes in the second half, you know, give him that and see if he can get his shooting boots on, because he was creating space. I know probably yourself and Paul, we were talking about it, and they were saying like after your second miss, you're probably looking to the line, all right, you know, like. But I just felt that maybe move him and Bud, put him out, put Bud into that area, you know, like so. But look, it's all hindsight now. Exactly, so there's Arva have won and are on the cusp of something historic. So they are as well. They're about to get 3 promotions in the league in 3 years, and they could, if they beat Ballyhaise in this final, it'd be 2 championship promotions in 2 years. Yeah, you know, and you can't write them off in this final.
No. This final is 50-50. You know, well, maybe 55-45.
Yeah.
Ballyhaise will go in as favourites, but
slight favourites.
Slight favourites, very slight favourites. It's going to be a hell of a final, but next week we'll be previewing that final on Gaelic Football Views. But the final that we are going to preview today is the Cully's Craft Bakery Junior Championship final, which will see Templeport taking on Cornafean in a replay of the first round game from earlier on in the year. Absolutely brilliant game in prospect here. 2 really good junior teams. Yeah,
really good junior teams. Now I haven't seen Cornafean, but I've been following them and I've been watching their league progress and whatever, and they're really strong. They really are strong. They've beaten Templeport already in the championship this year. You know, you've got the Whartons there, the three guys, I think they're
triplets,
the 3 twins, and the 3 twins, and they're having an exceptional year. So they are. And then you look at Templeport. You've got Liam Galligan in the full forward line. You've got Benjamin Kelly. You've Ben Kiernan, and you've
Owen Doonan.
Owen Doonan, and then you have Dylan Raythorne at centre half back. Again, really good footballers. You know, this one is going to be the tightest one to call.
It's going to be. I'm really looking forward to this for the simple reason that I think in the forward line probably Templeport has 1 or 2 more forwards than Cornafean. Cornafean have some excellent forwards, Liam Diden and Barry Doyle, they're young Whartons. But I think the Templeport might just have the edge. In the middle of the field though, I think that's where Cornafean will have the edge. And I actually think that the Cornafean defenders are a slight bit better than the Templeport defenders.
They're a little bit meaner than the Templeport ones.
And then you have Templeport have the youth and probably a wee bit more speed, but Cornafean have a bit more physical presence. And it's everything kind of, for every positive you see on one team, you can say the positive.
It's pretty much the same as the last year's final, because we said that about Ballymacue going in against Arva. We were looking saying, okay, Ballymacue have the physical strength and the whole lot. Templeport have the younger, faster players, and you know, could we see a repeat of what happened last year? Ballymacue beat Arva in the first round of the championship last year and met them in the final, and then Arva turned it over and won with a fantastic performance. Could Templeport do the same to Ballymacue or to Cornafean?
Like, it's a possibility. It's a definite possibility. The only difference being that I think Ballymacue hammered Arva in that first game last year, where there was only a point in Templeport and Cornafean in this one. So there's no favourites in this one. There's definitely no favourites in this one. If the bookmakers have a favourite, then I think they're wrong. This is a 50-50. There's no, I can't separate these teams, because every single time I try to break it down in my head to say, well, there's their advantage. I can think of an alternative advantage on the other that could balance it out.
It's going to be all on the day.
And it could be small little margins, whether it be maybe
a referee's decision going one way, or it could be, you know, just a catch or something.
What team can deal with the occasion? Neither of them have been in a junior final recently, you know, so it's going to be, there's so many little details. If it's raining, would you think that the physical strength of Cornafean will come through? If it's a sunny day, maybe the younger, maybe pacier team of Templeport will come through on that. Like, there's so many variables on this.
Like, you look at the conditions yesterday for the All Ireland final, and totally suited Dublin. Physical team, strong, you know, bigger than the Kerry lads, and they were able to bully them. And it was down to the small margins of ball handling and stuff, because there was a lot of times where Kerry were in a great position, simple ball handling let them down, or a poor pass,
or a lot of wides,
and then, you know, it could be very similar in this game. But I think myself, had it been a dry day yesterday, I think Kerry would have beaten Dublin. But again, that's who's to know. But that could be the same for this game. It could be a very similar way of looking at these two teams.
That's it. Like there's so many. It might even come down to the manager getting the matchups.
Yeah.
You know, who picks up Liam Gallagher, who picks up Barry Doyle, who picks up Liam Dignan, who picks up Ben Kiernan. You know, the matchups there might be the winning and losing of this game. You know, do Cornafean bring back a couple of sweepers to try and crowd out the space, or do they trust their defenders to go man for man on it? You know, it's going to be decided on the smallest of margins, and maybe. And yet
that could work for Templeport, because they've got such speed in their team that they could flood out the defence and then break at speed and counter attack. And with the forwards that they have, you know, giving them that little bit more space as well, if they can break it. This is just a tight one. It's just too tight to call it. And not only that, but Damien, you are doing a pre-match.
This Saturday night we're doing the up for the match. Preview to the game. It's going to be live on wearecavan.com. It's just a radio show basically down in the Keeper's Arms in Bombay. It's due to start at 9 o'clock. So if you can get into the Keeper's Arms, please do come along, and we're going to have a wonderful night. The previous intermediate winning teams in Templeport, I think it was 95. 77 and 60, 68 or something like that they won intermediate titles. So we're going to have players from those teams down. It'll be an absolutely brilliant night's crack. So do get down to the Keeper's Arms this Saturday night for the up for the match preview of the Cully.
So more previewing of this game.
More previewing and kind of just scene setting and building up for the crack. And look, at if you have any good wishes, if you're abroad and you're watching this and you're from Templeport or Cornafean, let us know. Send us in a tweet or an email, and we'll mention you on the
Even
broadcast.
if you're not from either of those parishes, you can still send in your good wishes to both Templeport and Cornafean. I know I will be.
Yes, indeed. And again, this final will be broadcast live on wearecavan.com this coming Sunday from Kingspan Breffni Park at 3 o'clock. So it's the Cully's Craft Bakery Junior Championship final between Templeport and Cornafean, a mouth-watering match.
Yeah. You're starting to feel it now, are you?
I am.
Damien was at the All-Ireland final yesterday, and he's a little bit worse for wear today, and that's why the show is going to be less than an hour tonight.
It is indeed. But a quick hello to everybody that I met in the Boar's Head and to Hughie Horrigan. A wonderful bar. That's my first time actually in the Boar's Head.
And what a bar it is. Absolutely brilliant.
I don't think it'll be my last.
No, definitely not. Anytime I'm going to a GA match in Dublin again, we're going there. That's where we're going.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, great night. And thanks to everybody who actually come up and told us in the Boar's Head how to...
Were you talking to Paul Collins?
Yeah, I was talking to Paul Collins, and Ian Galvin as well.
Just pick that name up there that you dropped.
Yeah. Look, we were talking to lots of people. We were talking to lots of good Cavan supporters. Too many to mention who said they do tune in and watch the show every week. And look, we're delighted to know that. And look, at any time you see us out and about, please do tell us that, because we love to hear it.
Absolutely. And if you've got any tickets for next year's All Ireland final, don't forget us. You know, because we're great crack. We really are, honestly. So look, that brings us to the end of this week's show, and a pretty good show, I have to say, this week. Remember, if you want to get in contact with the show, we'd be delighted to hear from you. You can email us at gaelicfootballviews@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at GaelicFE, or find us on Facebook by searching Gaelic Football Views. You can also go to the We Are Cavan website. You can follow We Are Cavan on Twitter.
Yes, or on Facebook, the same, or you can email wearecavan@gmail.com. And we want to wish the best of luck to all teams and to our club mate Micky Lee, who's refereeing the junior final this Sunday, to Cornafean, to Templeport. We wish you the very best of luck and hope that it's as entertaining as the championship has been so far.
And there's not only that, but the senior hurling final will be taking place before the junior match on Sunday. So if you fancy going in and watching Mullahorn winning another championship, well, look, possibly. But they would be the kingpins of hurling in Cavan. But that's going to be the curtain raiser to the junior final. So look, that's all from us. Until next week, it's good night from me, and
God bless.
No,
you're not bringing them out.